Hey, what's up guys? Trigger Wolf here, and since I'm on a roll about doing these strange articles that I don't quite agree with, but I think are kind of funny, I came across this one. I'm not gonna lie, I saw this on the Kotaku in Action Reddit thing, but I don't know, this kind of rubbed me the wrong way and I decided to cover it because I thought it was kind of funny. But anyway, let's start with the first lines here. 4 things gamers think are important but aren't. Totally your opinions, but hey, we'll go with it. I know what I want in a video game. I want a smart story, innovative gameplay, and to be challenged intellectually. At least that's what I thought I wanted. But then I played the new Doom, which had none of that, but was also the most fun I've had in front of my TV in years, rather. Jeez, I already messed up. Anyway, playing just a, you know, like playing chess for long periods of time on end is like mentally exhausting. Sometimes you just want to kick back and play some dumb fun, what I like to call dumb fun. You know, just loading up like Left 4 Dead or Doom or whatever and just mindlessly shooting zombies and watching them explode is just, it's harmless fun. And sometimes it's just fun to turn off every now and then. Know what I mean? That's when I realized that I don't have the faintest of clue of what I want in the game. Like I said, sometimes it's just more fun to turn off and play something you want just for fun, you know? And what I think I want is actually just a bunch of malarkey. Also, I'm bringing back malarkey. It's a good word. It's old-fashioned, in my opinion, but hey. Let's see. 4 things gamers think are important but aren't is absolute freedom. I think what most gamers want is a degree of freedom, right? If you're playing a game and you come across this annoying NPC and you just kind of want to bash him over the head with something, like Claptrap in Borderlands, you know, sometimes you just want to do that, but a lot of times developers just don't give you that freedom. That's the kind of freedom that most people just want in a video game, not just being able to wander around aimlessly for no reason, right? In this article, they bring up No Man's Sky a lot. I mean, here's a kind of faded out picture because this is like an archive link. But anyway, what we think we want. Freedom, baby, you feel me? That's cringy. So much cringe. All of the cringe. More than just a word for the type of radiation given off by the American flag, freedom is the greatest thing that a video game can offer you. Not always. Sometimes limitations are a good thing. Sometimes limitations actually add fun to a game. I mean, if you think about it, Dead Rising has a lot of limitations. Time limitations on top of that. But the game is still fun to play. A lot of people still love that game, you know. I've played it. I beat the second one. Mostly. In real life, we're trapped in stupid human societies with stupid laws in quotations and petty physical consequences for our squishy human bodies, preventing us from fulfilling our deranged fantasies. People still base jump. Regardless of how squishy their bodies are, people still like base jump. They jump off of buildings and stupid shit like that. But hey, you know, if you're too chicken for that, that's all you, brother. But in video games, anything is possible. That's why the best games are stuff like Grand Theft Auto and Minecraft. Totally subjective. I don't like either of those games. I've beaten Grand Theft Auto 5 and then I put it down and never touched it again. Minecraft, I can't get into it. I don't enjoy the game. They just point at the world and say, all yours, my child, all yours. Also, here's a machine gun. There's no machine guns in Minecraft, but that's neither here nor there. And hey, did you hear about this No Man's Sky game? It's like that, but with an entire universe. Sounds like a sponsored ad, but hey. There's so much goddamn freedom in that game that anyone who goes near it becomes riddled with malignant patriotic tumors. Ugh, just stop. Stop with that. That's stupid. The reality, not to sound like some conspiracy theorist, but freedom in a video game is a lie, man. Obviously, everything has to be programmed. You're only ever doing what the video game was programmed to allow you to do, man. Only fucking idiots don't know that, right? For example, take Grand Theft Auto. You can't do anything. You can't do the violent, hyper-masculine activities the designers remembered to program. That may be fun as hell, but it's still not freedom. define freedom. What is your definition of freedom? Because if I have the freedom to go around in that game and just massacre everybody, then hey, that's a degree of freedom. That's a degree of freedom that I think I mentioned earlier. I don't know. This is my second take on this video because my first one, the microphone didn't work. But hey, we're moving forward, okay? Even Minecraft, which seems like the purest sandbox game possible, still only lets you mine and repurpose materials into your own creations. Right, you have that freedom to make your own creations. That's the point. You can't say, try to sustainably coexist with nature. There's no granola munching hippie lifestyle in Minecraft. I'm sure there's a mod out there that lets you do that. For proof, look at the saga known as No Man's Sky. It's a game about exploring space, and then they debuted a trailer at E3, and everyone lost their goddamn minds over it, as I did above. Because of that sweet, intoxicating freedom. I think No Man's Sky was kind of subject to people's imaginations, right? When people said, oh, there's all kinds of infinite worlds out there, right? They expected, like, oh, I can go to a planet and it has cool monsters on it, like the predator that tries to kill you or whatever. You know, everybody had their own imagination of what was going on. But basically what I've seen, every planet is just sort of a reskin of the one you were on before. So, I don't know. I didn't play No Man's Sky, so I can't really say too much, I guess. The main hook was that there were 9 quintillion planets to explore. You can go anywhere and do anything. By go anywhere and do anything, meaning that you go from the same planet to another same planet and do the same mining and fishing, or I don't know what else to do in that game, but you pretty much do the same thing on every planet. It seems pretty damn neat, but then it came out and everyone was so horribly disappointed that fans dubbed it No Man's Lie. Okay, and demanded refunds, and in many cases received them. That's totally their decision. You can't fault people for not liking a game. What was the problem? Was there only 2 quintillion planets? Were all the planets the same? I heard they kind of were, to be honest. Did the game just straight up not work? No, nothing like that. The problem was that the multiplayer didn't work. I think, if I remember correctly, they promised multiplayer and just didn't give it. You know, that's what I think, but we'll move on here. What we think we want, but we don't, or something, whatever that line was before. We want movie quality stories as long as they don't get in the way of our murder fantasies. Look, I don't just play video games because they're hyper-violent fantasies or because I'm afraid of the mosquitoes and noises that are outside. Are you putting every gamer in a box? Are you putting, like, every gamer in that box? That's almost insulting if you are. I play them because of their great stories. Stories like The Last of Us, or Bioshock, or Spec Ops The Line. See? This is a real medium. Shakespeare would have probably written for video games if he were alive right now. I bet. For sure. No, I think he would probably stay with, like, theater and movies. I think he was more of that, like, artistic visual medium type of thing instead of, like, interactive, you know? Although Macbeth, the video game, might actually be good. The reality. The reason video games don't have great stories is that they're games. Why are they exclusive? They're not exclusive. There are some great games out there with great stories. I fucking love Metal Gear Solid, and I think it has a great fucking story. A little complicated, but at least it's fucking great. A lot of the Telltale games are fucking amazing too. Like The Walking Dead. I heard Batman is supposed to be pretty good. I heard Borderlands wasn't too bad. And there are even some great games out there that aren't like that are actual games instead of like narrated stories like Telltale. Like King's Quest. I played the new King's Quest. I played at least the first episode, and Christopher Lloyd in that, by the way, is like fucking amazing. Go play that game. That game is awesome. Give those people money. The first goal of a video game is to always be fun. But somewhere along the lines we decided that the only way to have games be taken seriously is to give them some serious stories. I think with the increase in technologies, it was just easier to try to parallel them with movies to give a reason for you to like the character you're playing as. Kind of to put them in their boots, right? If you were playing, let's say, Assassin's Creed 2, and The game just sort of puts you in as Ezio with no real clue of what is going on. You're just going around murdering everybody. Everyone's just asking you to go, I need you to go kill that guy over there because he slighted me for some reason. You would just think of yourself as the biggest fucking murderer for no reason, right? But suddenly you add cutscenes in there and you grow a connection to Ezio, right? You see his birth, you see his family get slaughtered, you see his revenge story, you see his motivations, what he is to be a person, right? That is, to me, the reason why you add cutscenes, to put you into the game, to put you in the boots of the character you're playing, basically. This is the equivalent of playing chess with your friends, but taking 5 minutes before your turn to explain the motivation of your rook. Yes, that is called that's called storytelling, and putting you in the boots of your character, right? If the rook was a brand new character that nobody has ever seen before, they would want some kind of explanation of it, not just, oh, that's a rook, he just does a thing, right? Not everything is a fucking game of chess, right? Sometimes it's literally just as easy as a game of checkers. I remember loving The Last of Us' story, but then I think back on it and I realized that the story kept being hurt by the fact that it also had to be a game. Oh, there's too much game in my movie. Why can't I just buy a game and watch it like a movie? I mean, if you really had that much of a problem, you could just hire the neighborhood kid, pay him $20 to play the game for you, and just watch. I'm sure that'd be weird for his parents, but hey, it'll be better for your career as a blogger, I guess. In the beginning, Joel and his buddy ruthlessly murder 50 dudes in the middle of town, but we're still supposed to see him as a relatable hero. Yes, because the cutscenes... I've already said this, like, there's no need to repeat it. The cutscenes put you in the boots of the character so that you feel for them, right? Feel for their motivations, but since you have such, like, a dissonance between, like, you're so analytical that you can't just sit back and turn off your brain for a second and enjoy what's right in front of you, right? That is really the problem, I think. And it's so weird. I want to say cognitive dissonance, but I don't know if that's the right term for that. The game I played and the story I followed were happening in two totally different worlds. No, it's the same world, it's just, you know, one's a game and the other one's not a game. Yeah, okay. That's when I realized that there are 3 different types of great video games. The thesis statements on the nature of video games. What? That thesis statements is like the thinking man's first-person shooters, it looks like. Several dozen cool, loosely related ideas scattered around the map for you to discover on your own. Fallout, Oblivion, and Dark Souls. All RPGs, by the way. And something that would work better as a movie, an action game. Duh, those are just... This first line right here might as well just been first-person shooter. This line here might as well just been RPGs, and this line might as well just been action game. Yeah, there's different genres of games, you know. Calling this stuff stories is the same simplistic, reproductive, that's way off, reductive thinking that leads game designers to throw in random references to sexual violence because they think it's mature. It's because it is mature. You wouldn't show sexual violence to a fucking kid. That's just wrong and terrible and mean. That's why games have ratings on them, right? Games don't need to be movies. They can be games. They are games. Stop trying to make them into something else. Why don't you go back and play your own fucking Super Nintendo for a while, huh? Even then, fucking Super Nintendo games had cutscenes in them. Play any Chrono Trigger game. Okay, next page. Chrono Trigger is amazing, by the way. 4 things gamers think are important but aren't. Cutting edge graphics. Oh no, cutting edge graphics is the reason, is one of the things that brings us into the game, right? It allows us to more easily suspend disbelief because everything looks more realistic, right? Except for when you're playing Assassin's Creed Unity, when everything starts popping up in the background. Everything looks all cool and realistic, but things pop up in the background and it takes you out of it immediately. But hey, we're gonna continue here. What we think we want. Every time I read this line right here, it makes me think of that line from Blizzard. You think you want that, but you don't. Ugh. I hate being condescended to like that, to be honest. The first thing you notice when a video game trailer hits are the sweet new graphics. The second thing you should notice when you see those sweet new graphics is that is not representative of the game you're going to get. It almost never is. Take a look at everything Ubisoft makes, right? It looks amazing at E3. By the time you get it, it looks like dog shit. This is what my friends and I used to say to each other when we were kids. Oh God, I hope that doesn't date me too much, because what, are you afraid of your own age? I'm 27. I work for a living. I sometimes do YouTube videos because it's a hobby of mine, but hey, whatever. For as long as I can remember being alive, which I repeat is a non-specific length of time because you're afraid of your own age, we've been chasing that dragon of the photorealistic game. Okay. A long time ago, character models used to be either 2D sprites or like 5 polygons. As technology kept getting better, it was only a natural step to make better looking models, right? So, I mean, you can look at World of Warcraft from 10 years ago and World of Warcraft today. World of Warcraft today looks a ton better. A little bit samey because it's still an old game, but every model has been updated to look much, much better. Apparently, without really thinking about what it's going to be like to shoot photorealistic people with photorealistic rifles. Are you saying that shooting? Is this the Jack Thompson argument right here? That playing a violent video game makes you violent? Is that what that is? Are you implying that? Because that's what I'm saying. Oh, and that's his picture too. Pokemon Alpha Sapphire Ruby Ultra, now with anatomically correct blood and injury effects. It's a kid's game. There's a difference between a kid's game and a fucking adult-rated game, right? Hold on, let me grab a Pokemon game just off my shelf real quick. I don't know where it is, but I think it's like rated E for everybody. Pokemon usually wants to keep it rated E for everybody, even though some Pokemon have some dark stories. They're usually rated E for everybody. Most Nintendo games are. There are very few that aren't. The reality, graphics don't matter. I agree. To anybody. I disagree. And I know this is true because I discovered in 2012 games use stereotypes as gameplay mechanics. What does that have to do with graphics? Okay. I think you just wanted to recall to another article you did for no reason. Okay, it's not because gamers are racist, and you get in trouble if you don't say this every few sentences when discussing video games. Nobody really knows why. It's because video games aren't racist, and we're tired. Video gamers are not racist, and we're tired of people trying to pin that on us, right? We might play a video game that has racist undertones because that just happens to be what the game subject material is about. Doesn't make us racist by like default. Standing next to a racist does not make us let me try that again. Standing next to a racist does not make us a racist by proxy. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't. Racism is not contagious, okay? That's what I mean to say. It's because racism just happens to sync up with a good game design really well. Again, it's that subject matter thing, right? If there was a video game based on slavery and, you know, the people weren't racist to each other, then it would just take you out of the game. It would just make them, it would make the slaves seem like they're there because they want to be there instead of being forcefully put there, right? I don't know, that's just stupid. When we're playing a shooter, for example, we need to be able to immediately identify our enemies or our friends or our power-ups at a glance. Are you saying that our enemies are black? What's wrong with you? Why do you only see color in people? That's why a well-designed game has monsters that have immediately identifiable silhouettes. Are you saying that fighting monsters is racist? I don't understand. And why power-ups are always in a friendly color. They also glow really, really brightly so that you can see them from miles away. That is the point of them. Usually when that is in a game, you're trying to fight through a horde of some type to get to that power-up so that you can more easily kill the horde. The important part of the game design isn't rich, evocative details or realistic sweat mechanics. We're only really noticing that stuff if we stop playing the game for a few seconds, sit right next to our TV and consciously pick it out. The thing about video games is that subtlety goes a long way to putting you into the game with your character, right? If a character just shrugged off bullets, and most of them do, you'd be like, what the fuck, is this guy just Superman? But if in a cutscene, you know, the guy takes a shot to the shoulder and he falls to the ground and he starts like whinging in pain while holding the gunshot wound, then that's more realistic. That has nothing to do with gameplay. The gameplay is why we bought the game, and not a Jackson Pollock print to stare at while it's scarfing pizza bagels and energy drinks. That's apparently what you want, though, right? Because you don't want a game. Remember earlier when you said that there's too much game in your movie? Yeah. Contradictory, my friend. Contradictory. So sure, the technology is important, and the leaps forward in technology have made more games possible. But the fine detail, the sweet graphics, we all stopped noticing them 5 minutes after picking up that shotgun. Here's the thing, whether you like it or not, the first thing you notice when you start up a game for the first time is just how it looks, right? That's the first thing that draws you into the game. You start up Super Mario 3D World, the first thing you can see and understand are the colors and the shapes. And like the brightness of all that stuff, and just how happy everything is. The second thing you notice is that you have a controller in your hands. Can you move Mario around this beautiful world? Yeah. Can you jump? Sure. Okay, so now you have a shotgun. Mario has a shotgun for some reason. Now you just want to go around this beautiful world and kill things. It's just how gameplay is made, man. We want the devs to not be involved in the games. That's not true. We want devs to be 100% fully involved in the games, because that's just what makes a good game, right? That's the difference between Undertale and Call of Duty. You know, Call of Duty is just a yearly remake that is just, it's cranked out just to make money, versus Undertale, which has a lot of love put into it. You can definitely tell just by the way the game plays and how the characters act, right? There are two recent gaming stories that, though they might seem totally different, are examples of the exact same attitudes that gamers have developed. First, let's talk about No Man's Sky again. Let's please not. The game sucked. Let's just put it aside and play a better game. Putting everything else aside, the idea of procedurally generated universe is pretty damn rad, right? The developers basically made an algorithm for animals and terrain design, and then the game, at least the parts that we see and play, design itself. It's a mystery to both them and us to what we discover together. Neat, right? The thing is that even though there are a bajillion worlds to look through in No Man's Sky, a developer had to sit there and test at least a couple of them to make sure that things are spawning correctly and that animals aren't spawning like 50 feet in the sky for no reason, and like the planet isn't totally engulfed in water or is entirely water to the point where you can't land on it or do anything on it, right? These things have to still be tested by developers. It needs to be tested by developers to fit their vision correctly. Granted, there are so many different planets that they're now kind of relying on players to tell them whether or not things are broken. That's just the way it is, right? The game is basically beta, in my opinion. Then there was this interview about Deus Ex Mankind Divided, a game that is set in a world with apartheid, but instead of between whites and blacks, it's between humans and Augs, technologically augmented humans. When asked how the game approaches this racism parable, the designer said, "We never say in the game if one side is..." Hold on, let me try that again. I lost it here. "We never say in the game if we're on one side of the debate or the other. If you think they deserve it, that's perfect. If you don't think they deserve it, that's perfect. That being cold, that's pretty cold," he says. But it's at least true to the spirit of gaming, right? Everything is in our hands. The gamers have the power to decide, as it should be. The weird thing is that in both of those cases, we're excited that the game developers aren't involved in their own goddamn game. I'm not going to get into whether or not Deus Ex is racist for giving us the opportunity to support apartheid. That's stupid. That would not make the game racist. That would make you a racist, first of all. Instead, I want to ask a simpler question. Why would I, or anyone, want that? Because not everybody shares the same opinions as you do. That's why. The game isn't tailored for you. It's tailored for the general public. And if you think the general public wants what you want, you are incredibly wrong, good sir. Why would I want a game to just stick to a parable for racism up on my TV screen, then pull back and say, hey, I'm not saying if it's good or bad, that's for you to decide. What? Why the fuck did you bring up Black Lives Matter if you don't have anything to say about it? They didn't. You did. That's the point. Here's the thing. You're playing as Adam Jensen, right? But the designers want to put you in Adam Jensen's boots, right? They want you to make the decisions whether or not whatever is racist, right? That's just storytelling. Good storytelling and good game design. They put that option up for you to decide. If you're saying that the designers are racist because they put that up for you to decide, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. You're just wrong, right? Imagine how weird it would be if at a party your buddy Chaz. Oh, sorry, I'm not so stuck up to have a buddy named Chaz. I just don't. Hey, Black Lives Matter, huh? I mean, it's not going to tell you my opinion. Or rather, I'm not going to tell you my opinion. Just Black Lives Matter. It exists, right? That'd be weird. Stop being weird, Chad. Stop being weird, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Again, putting you in the boots of the character and letting the player decide what is right and wrong. That's really the degree of freedom that we were talking about before in the beginning of the article. That's all on you, man. I shouldn't. The reason why some games fail, like, what was that one game? I think it was called Sunset. The reason that game failed so horribly is because it was preachy. And nobody likes being preached to in a video game that they bought, right? It just feels like propaganda, and nobody likes propaganda. Except for North Korea, I guess. Nobody likes being preached to. Nobody likes being told what is right and what is wrong according to their ideologies, right? I'd rather figure out what the hell is going on myself, make my own conclusions, come to my own conclusions, make my own decisions, and play the game that way, right? If I wanted to play the game completely stealth, I should be able to play the game completely stealth without killing anybody. Assuming that the game is one of those types of games that allow you to do that. But if the game has the stealth option, but everyone else says, no, you have to play it this way because I said so, that is incredibly wrong and incredibly selfish. I think I went on a tangent there, but we're going to continue. It's the same with No Man's Sky. Why were we so excited to hear that a computer designed every planet and every spaceship that we'd see in the game? It's because we'd have infinite planets to go and explore, right? People like exploring games. People like space games. People like space exploring games. Design is hard, man. I can't do it. That's what I'm paying the game developers for. Something they made. They still have to design the program to do it. They still have to design the systems. They still have to design the arts, right? They still had to do that, right? A computer didn't do that. An artist did that. You're so fucking stupid. Something that has the marks of human effort on it. If I'm going to spend my money, spend my game time exploring a planet, I'm sorry, I just can't read today for some reason. I want someone to have spent the time and effort to make that planet cool and fun to explore. Somebody did design that planet. Or at least somebody by proxy designed that planet. They designed the art, the animals, the models, all that stuff. They designed the program. They tested the program that spawns the planet. People did that, right? It's not just a computer. Somebody didn't just pay a computer to build the game for you. I'm sorry, but that's just not how game design works. And if I'm going to play a video game about freaking racism, I want the game to say something about it instead of just stating that it exists. Because otherwise, man, this is just a bunch of malarkey. You're a bunch of malarkey, you fucking idiot. Here's the thing. Like I said before, I feel like I don't have to say it again, but I'm going to because this guy just doesn't get it through his thick head. That game design is about putting you into the character's boots, right? Or at least these types of games. Something like Deus Ex, right? If you were just playing the game to play the game and, like, you had your headphones on listening to music and not paying attention to whatever's going on in the cutscenes, it takes you out of the game and it just makes you feel like you're playing a game instead of actually being Adam Jensen, right? The game putting up this racism parable and having you decide, right? If you come to the conclusion that it's racist, it's because you're probably racist. That's just the way it is, buddy. Anyway, that's all the time I have for today. I'm going to put up the end card. Go ahead. End card up. Go. Welcome to the dark and blackened abyss known as the End Slate, where I have a reward for you. All you got to do is claim it by pressing the subscribe button. I'll give you a hint. It's more videos. Yeah. At the top left of the screen here is my last video, which is apparently Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very demonic back in 2006, 2006. If you're on a mobile device and can't click on that, if you look at the top right corner of the screen there, it's a little info card. Click that and it'll take you to that video too. So thank you all for watching, as always, and I'll see you next time. Later.